Bienvenidos a este su canal, Everton Azul. Todo Everton, todo fútbol. Hello, everyone. We have a post-match review. We're going to be talking to two wonderful people that not only love Everton, but they know quite a lot about the game. So let's begin with Nick. How are you, Nick?
Doing great, Javi. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you, and appreciate it. And here's Tuto. Hello, Tuto. You're wearing the right jersey, I guess?
I hope, right? It's blue.
It's blue. Okay, well, that's all that matters. So, guys, what an incredible game yesterday, right? I mean, it was extremely contested. It was almost a gift, to be quite honest, because fair would have been a tie. Of course, a disappointing tie that would have been. But we came out with the 3 points, and wow. So please, Nick, what are your thoughts on that game yesterday?
You said it. Yeah, it probably should have been a draw. We were lucky. But I think the two previous matches, and Carlo Ancelloti said this after the game, probably was a little unlucky that we ended up with a tie against Tottenham and Crystal Palace, two games where we led late in the second half and gave up an unfortunate equalizer. So it might have been fair in the sense that we were due. The last two games we probably should have gotten one of those. So this one we finally found some luck and got a win. But I think we tried to come out and press and play like we did against Spurs, where we had a promising performance, and I think Arsenal responded really well, and they were playing out of the back, and they were breaking down our press, and they slowly forced us to have to retreat and play a little behind the ball, probably more than we wanted. But we still had some chances. Richarlison had a great chance in the first half. Gylfi hit the bar on a free kick. Sigurdsson had another great chance in the box with a Coleman cross. So there were chances, and wow, Richarlison scores on one that I don't even know if that was a chance. It was an own goal, but we'll take it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Tuto, let me go ahead and put the how we came out on the field, okay? And if you want to talk to me about what you thought of two specific players, I'm talking about Lucas Dean, which had quite a nice afternoon, I should say. And, of course, and Seamus Coleman, who didn't seem to have the same date yesterday. So what are your thoughts on Lucas Dean's performance yesterday?
Well, both of them had a lot of work, right? Both of them, that's what we expect from those two. I mean, Lucas Dean and Seamus Coleman are our best crossers. And we are always expecting that. Lucas Dean was always trying to do his best, trying to find Dominic Calvert-Lewin out there. But he had a hard time. However, he did perform. There's a couple times where the Arsenal defense would guess where he was going. But I noticed that he definitely had a lot of work. Now, Seamus, on the other hand, was a lot busier as well. He did filter a couple balls through the center. In fact, there was one that he filtered through Gylfi Sigurdsson where he couldn't finish, and it ended up being an offside. So both of them, I think they did pretty well. We're always asking for a lot more, but right. I think they did perform.
Okay, and I'm going to go to Nick because I would like to hear from Nick about Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey. So if you really consider the fact that those two center backs, they were pretty much on their own. Lucas Dean, obviously, he did an amazing job in tackles and crosses. If I'm not mistaken, he ended up winning the most tackles, and that's behind Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate, who had 5 forward respectively. So what are your thoughts on that defense yesterday, Nick?
Yeah, we've had so many injuries over the last couple of months that we've had to try all these different formations. And yesterday felt like the first time in I don't know how long we played a true 4-back in the defense. So it was interesting to see how that looked with Alan sitting in front of them and able to provide some protection. As far as Holgate and Godfrey, those are our two best on the ball individual defenders on the team. They've got more pace than Mina and Keane, but obviously they don't have maybe the aerial ability to defend headers and crosses like Mina and Keane can. But they also struggle on the ball. They're not as good of passers as Yeri and Michael Keane. So you noticed a lot yesterday in the second half when Arsenal started to press us. It's more difficult for us to break down that press and get out of our own half because you're relying on Godfrey and Holgate to break the line and make that pass, and that's not their strong suit. But they did well. We can't ignore the fact Arsenal was in our final third for a lot of the match, and we. Despite that, Pickford had some situations where he needed to make a save, but it wasn't constant pressure on Pickford, and I think you have a lot of credit goes to Godfrey and Holgate for managing that back line.
No, we also got lucky at the fact that they didn't connect very well. I mean, one went over the bar. I think it was Chambers who hit it very hard on the floor, and then it went up. And then there was another little toe poke where Pickford went down real fast, and he was able to help and redirect that shot. On the other hand, I think Ben Godfrey was extremely important in that moment. But Mason Holgate, I saw an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the fact that he's playing in the center that definitely suits him. But after everything that we've seen Michael Keane kind of go through, the mistakes with Mason Holgate in the previous game, I feel that this pair did really well. Of course, Jerry Mina and the addition at the end was it felt great because we definitely wanted to see Jerry come back. And now we know that we have a wonderful defense. Now we know that they're healthy, and I have a good feeling about what might take place on the upcoming games. I would like to speak to you about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Tuto, what do you see? I mean, because I have to be honest with you, Dominic Calvert-Lewin wasn't very involved. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that maybe James just didn't have that many opportunities to put the ball out there, or maybe Gylfi, which, by the way, I want to ask Nick about in a little bit. But what are your thoughts on Dominic, Tuto?
Yeah, it was a hard one for Dominic because he couldn't find anything. That nobody was passing the ball through his head, which is what his forte is. He's always trying to find those headers, and he did have a couple in the first half. The second half, I didn't see much of him. We had Richarlison trying to move a lot more on the right side, and I think that's what helped Everton create some of those plays, and that's what ended up in the goal with that mistake from the goalie. But it was a hard time for Dominic. I don't think he was able to receive that many balls. So I think Arsenal did his job too. You always have to look at both sides. So Arsenal did defend really well, and I mean the possession was all Arsenal. So what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. He was definitely very isolated yesterday. I heard the announcer say at one point late in the second half that was only like his second touch of the second half at that point, and it was like in the 75th or 80th minute.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few times I noticed he had to come so deep to try to get the ball. There were a couple times he was all the way back near midfield, almost trying to start the attack. So he's coming back from injury. I don't think he played poorly. I'm with Tuto. He just didn't really have a lot of opportunities, just the way the game played out. So I'd love to, of course, see him get some more touches moving forward.
Okay, so before we move to Gylfi Sigurdsson, which I feel has a lot of praise, why don't we speak about Richarlison instead, Nick? Because so we're talking about Dominic not having that many chances at the ball, and yet Richarlison playing on the right found a very cheap goal. I mean, I have to be honest with you. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was a cross that Dominic would have gotten to, yet found the goalie, and between the legs he went, and here we go. So what are your thoughts on Richarlison playing on the right? And I know that he's played that position before, if I'm not mistaken, the previous years that's where he began, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
They definitely would move him back and forth. I think the left was his his more natural position where he could just cut in on his right foot. But he definitely played a lot more on the right in the past than he has since Ancelotti's taken over. But yeah, Richarlison has just kind of he's been up and down this year. He started off so cold. He had that breakaway against Tottenham in the first game and missed the net. And then for a while there, whenever Calvert-Lewin was hurt and we made him play striker, he started to get back into form, and we started talking about, maybe that's his natural position. He's mentioned before that's where he wants to play. And then recently, the last 3 or 4 games, guys, I feel like he's missed a lot of opportunities. He's had a lot of chances and hasn't finished them. And to see yesterday that, he finally caught a break. I feel like he's had a lot of situations where he's had some opportunities in the box and they've just missed, or his header's just gone over the bar. So it was good to see him get one. Hopefully that gets him going again. I feel like when he got that lucky one against Leicester earlier in the season, that kind of got him going when that keeper made the mistake on that one as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully this gets Richarlison back in form.
On the other hand, Tuto, still staying in the subject of Richarlison, I found that he also takes too long on the ball. He somehow wants to take on the whole defense, and then he misses the chances to find the open man. Not only that, by the time they have taken the run, they may be offside. So, did you notice that? Am I correct in that assessment?
No, that is a correct assessment. Unfortunately for Richarlison, he has a lot of ambition. I think his mind goes much faster than his feet does. So he's always trying to think ahead, but he's way too fast. He's trying to think, I'm going to be able to dribble around these 2 guys when he could maybe do an easy pass and then have it back to him, some kind of triangulation there, some passing there, some walls. But he's not connecting. I don't know if you guys noticed last game with Tottenham, how Gylfi and James connected and they assisted each other. I don't see Richarlison doing that with Dominic. So hopefully, if we can find those kind of connections, I think in between Gylfi and James, and then Dominic and Richarlison, we can have some great connection up there. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, Nick, I did notice that. Do you think that maybe just not a part of Richarlison's game, and he missed out on those opportunities? On the other hand, when he plays on the left, he connects real well with Lucas Dean, and they're able to pass much faster than he would on the right. I don't know if honestly, I'm confused, because you would think that on the right hand side, with the right foot to be, his dominant foot, that would be a great position for him. Or maybe he just likes to cut to the right and he's unable to do that. On the other hand, yesterday he cut to the left really well, and then went to the right again, and he was able to cross the ball where the goalie Leno, he had an amazing save. So what happens between the right and the left that makes it so different for him, Nick?
Yeah, no, I just want to also echo what Tuto said. I feel like his link-up play, his passing is definitely the part of his game that he needs to improve. I think in his defense regarding like dribbling and taking on players, he's the only player we have that has that skill set. Gylfi and James aren't the type of guys that are going to dribble by the entire team. They're going to pick out passes, and they're very, very technical on the ball. Calvert-Lewin's not a guy that's going to take on a lot of people. So that I think is an area we need to assess in the transfer market this offseason. We need an attacking-minded player that can dribble past people and create. And we rely on the overlaps of Coleman and Digne to kind of create that, to kind of cover that weakness. But yeah, yesterday it was tough because with the 4 on the back line, you don't have those wing backs getting as advanced of Digne and Coleman like they've been in recent games. And when they get advanced, then it creates, okay, here comes the overlap around on my outside. Now I can cut in. Right. And Richarlison admittedly didn't necessarily have that yesterday. Coleman wasn't getting as far forward.
He wasn't.
But agree, he needs to improve his dribbling in general. I think he sometimes chooses the wrong time to try to take on people when, like Tuto said, it's 1-on-3, 1-on-4. And he also needs to improve his passing.
Okay, so let's move on to Gylfi Sigurdsson, because I feel that he had a wonderful game yesterday, right? So, Nick, what are your thoughts on his improvement? I mean, we have been talking about Gylfi and wondering if it's even if he has a future with Everton. On the other hand, I feel like the past 2 games or maybe 3 games, he's been very much in the game. I mean, yesterday he had another opportunity where he could have, with his left, open up and put it on the goal. Yet yesterday, unfortunately, somebody did block it and he was unable to connect. But really good, don't you think, Nick?
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't want to go into a history lesson of Gylfi, but you know, people forget that he's our most expensive signing in club history. We dropped around 50 million pounds on him 3 or 4 years ago from Swansea, and that was right when I think that was the end of the Koeman era, and he was expected to be the guy. And we just never put the right pieces around him, and he was forced to play up positions that he didn't normally play. He never got to play the natural, a number 10 center attacking mid position, which is his best position. We didn't have good strikers in front of him, and I think he unfairly faced a lot of scrutiny from fans because there were these massive expectations with how expensive he was in the transfer market. And I think it's been unfair. I think the guy's been consistent and absolutely hobby in the last 2 or 3 games. Of course, with the brace against Tottenham, and then again yesterday where he almost scored the 1 goal. He hit the bar on the other free kick.
Wow.
His link-up plays with James has been so beautiful to watch. Those two seem to play really well off each other. So I'm happy for Gylfi. I think it's exciting to see him reach this form. I'm hoping we can get a couple more seasons out of him. He's in his early 30s. He's getting a little older, but he's never been the player that's relied on pace or athleticism in his career. He's relied on his technical ability. So usually players like that can play a little longer because as they lose their speed, it doesn't necessarily matter as much for them. But another great performance from him, and I'm hoping he can keep it going.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's speak about Alan because I feel yesterday he was possibly the player who filtered, quite a few good passes. James, did have a little bit of if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2 or 3 mistakes where he had the ball taken away from him. I feel like everybody is starting to understand where James turns, and that's why they're able to intercept that ball. And of course, when James doesn't feel like he's got someone to pass to, then he's going to hold it. And of course, for the most part, he'll lose it. But anyways, first, Alan. Nick, talk to me about Alan, and then I'll go to Tuto, and you can speak to me about James. So, Nick, tell me about Alan. What do you think?
I think him and Doucouré are quietly 2 of our most valuable players in terms of what they bring to the team, just because there's no one else in the team that I think has their skill set, and that is Doucouré being box to box, and Alan just being the guy that can just continuously win back the ball and can cover so much ground, and when someone does give it away like James or Gylfi in the attack, he's able to bail us out and win the ball back and help out the back line. So he's just such a crucial player to what we do. He allows us to attack and to press because again he provides that protection on the back end. And when he's not healthy, it's apparent. So he's just such a valuable player.
What a valuable player, Doucouré, no? I mean, we miss him a lot. He's definitely I feel like the guy that would make James move a little up further and would then allow him to be a little closer to the opposite side. So, Tuto, now that we're talking about James, lost the ball about 3 times yesterday where, he didn't find anyone. He just felt like okay, are we trying to maybe try too hard? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? He just didn't have that opportunity yesterday. He didn't connect.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem with James. When the opposition finds a way to neutralize him, he gets very desperate, and that's the problem with James. He was trying to find spaces. He was trying to find the connection, and sometimes he could even find Richarlison or Dominic, like we said before. But what he was able to find, he was trying to connect with Gylfi, And I saw that he was trying to connect with Alan. He was able to connect with those two, but he was definitely being pushed out of his position, and Arsenal did a really good job keeping him neutralized. So he didn't shine like he used to. He didn't shine like he did against Tottenham. And that's why those that like to see him shine, complain a little, right? Because we always like to hear him shine. But if he's being neutralized, what else you do, you know?
Yeah. No, Mikel Arteta, for sure, figure out a way to neutralize him, as you said. Do you feel the same way, Nick, in reference to James' performance yesterday?
Yeah, I think he was. I think he played fine, but I agree. A few times he probably waited too long on the ball. He needed to get rid of it, and he tried to wait and maybe create the perfect pass or wait for that opportunity to present itself, and ended up giving the ball away because they were they were pressing him. And credit to Arsenal for that. But with James, admittedly, maybe maybe I view things differently. But whenever he gives it away, like I'm not super upset. I realize that he's going to create so much, and I'm willing to accept that there's going to be some giveaways here and there, but I would much rather have James on the ball than anybody else, even if that means giving the ball away a few times here and there, because he can. All it takes is just one situation where he can, open up those hips and switch the field or pick out that perfect pass like he's done so many times this year. So we just need to do a better job of having people around him. And I don't think Andre Gomez played particularly well yesterday. And he's a guy that really needs to be there to help link up play. And that's a guy who you miss when Decore is normally in. He can link up that play a little bit better. So James gave it away a few times, but that's okay. He creates so many opportunities for us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, for all the noise. Kids are playing upstairs and they're making a ton of noise. That's life, isn't it? But apologies for that. But anyway, so why don't we talk about the controversies, right? Yesterday, we had one that, of course, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're not gonna feel good about. So I would like to hear what Tuto has to say in reference to Mikel Arteta first, because he had a couple of things to say about it. Did you see that press conference, Tuto?
Yeah, no, Mikel was mad. He cannot understand how game after game Arsenal is being affected by VAR. And he's fed up with it. So he was really open, and he was trying to be honest as much as he could, because there was questions up and down about ESL and the European Super League because of what happened all last week. But then on top of that, then you put VAR doing this offside for him where he didn't think it was fair. We're talking about millimeters. We're talking about spaces where VAR are finding to call these offsides, and I'm sure Nick will probably compliment what I'm about to say, because the problem with this offside is that we thought the VAR was reviewing the penalty, not the offside.
Right.
And then he comes in, and he was very open and trying to understand, and he even said, if VAR is going to stay with the Premier League, they need to be clear, they need to be transparent, and they need to show their faces, because we cannot talk to them. We cannot say anything, but they take these calls that take a hit on our team, on our efforts to try to do the same thing that Everton is trying to do. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes VAR acts against you. Sometimes it's in favor of you. What do you think, Nick? What do you think of that play?
Yeah, I think that it should not have been a penalty, but not necessarily because of the offside ruling. I think it was a clear dive by Ceballos in the box. Man, it would have been a really, really weak penalty to give. There were probably 50 other plays in that game where there was more contact in the box than that. So I thought for sure it was going to get ruled out for the fact that there wasn't really any contact between Richarlison and Ceballos. And then they said, VAR confirmed that it is a foul and it is a penalty. And then they start reviewing the offside. And I don't know. I believe in getting the call right. Trust me, I understand. But I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's ruined a lot of my reaction to goals. Like, I can't even celebrate when Everton score because I think to myself, well, wait a second, did it hit an arm in the build-up? Was he offside?
Right.
I can't celebrate until they do all that, and then by that time, I'm not even excited anymore. So that's a discussion for a different day.
Well, so why don't we discuss then? We're after watching a few games this morning and having a few scores. One score go our way, kind of help us out. Let's see where we find ourselves right now. Let's take a look. We are still in 8th place with 52 points. Tottenham Hotspur with 53. Liverpool, they lost lost points today. If I'm not mistaken, they lost them on the last minute, and they are now with 54 points. So, Nick, this speaks very highly of what we can accomplish, right?
It's there for the taking. Somehow after before the Arsenal game, what was it? It was 5 prior games where we, without a win for us, and somehow we're still looking at an opportunity here to challenge for European football. So, it's one game at a time. It starts on Saturday with Aston Villa, where we have a chance to go to 6 with a win. And then right after that, as you've got on the screen there, West Ham. And what an important game that will be with a team who's also competing for top 6 competitions there. So it's exciting as an Everton fan. It's rare that there's something to play for this late in the season. Usually we're not making Europe. Okay, we're out of the FA Cup. We're out of the Carabao Cup. There's just really nothing left to play for. So I'm excited. And I like that it's in our control. We don't need to root for necessarily other results. We just have to win.
That is correct. And, looking forward to that West Ham game, to be quite honest with you. On the other hand, let me see, this game against Aston Villa. We haven't seen these guys at all this year. And, I mean, I just don't know what they bring to the table. I mean, we could talk about, Arsenal and how they were, but Aston Villa, it's an enigma to me. So I'm a little concerned about that game. Tuto.
I don't know. It's gonna be unpredictable, but it's gonna have. We keep saying in Spanish, right? It's another final. All these games, there's more 6 games, and they're all gonna be finals. And of course, we keep saying it. We have to collect 3 points each time we go out there at the pitch, but it is what it is. I mean, Bruno Cardona is joining us and he's telling us, how James, his job is also to pull players, and he was able to pull some of those players that were marking him, and hopefully he can shine against Aston Villa. He will show up and he's healthy, and that's really the ultimate goal right now, is trying to keep the squad as healthy as possible. I know Doucouré will probably be missing the last part of the season, but at least if we keep everybody healthy, we should be able to finish strong.
And we do have a healthy team, right? I mean, at least with the exception of Doucouré, I feel like we got to give Fabian Delph another chance. What do you think, Nick? Yesterday wasn't his best game, but then again, the poor guy was just, he was coming in to try to fill in some big shoes, and that's a tough one. So what do you think about Fabian Delph yesterday?
Yeah, I mentioned, I didn't think Andre Gomez played well, and that forced Ancelotti's hand, I think, to bring in Delph a little earlier than we would have wanted. But yeah, he wasn't great on the ball, but it also was his first action since December, and I think it ended up being the perfect substitute after we scored the goal, right? When Delph was coming in and it's 0-0, it's like, oh man, a point does nothing for us. We have to go for the win. Why are we subbing a midfielder for a defensive midfielder? But then after the goal went in, and then you also bring in Tom Davies, now you've got the fort set up, right? With and you bring in Mina too, so you've got the 5 in the back, and you had Delph, Davies, and Alan across the defensive midfield, and I thought they did really well, closing down the ball, rotating back. So I thought Delph looked good positionally, just wasn't great on the ball.
Guys, we could, there's so much to talk about, Super League and the fact that Barcelona and Real Madrid is still trying to hold on to that Super League I don't know, position, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
I don't
all
know.
I can tell you is there were protests today at Chelsea's game. And there'll be protests at Manchester United. And, well, needless to say,
Europa League,
yeah.
UEFA, champions. There's still games coming. So
right. And there are changes also coming to Champions League too, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot to talk about, guys. But we only have so much time for for what happened yesterday between Arsenal and Everton. I'm so glad that we got the win. Anything else that anyone would like to talk about? Raise your hand.
Yeah. No, I have here a nice fact, fact right here. 25 years took Everton to accomplish another victory at Emirates Stadium. I mean, 25 years. A lot of people out there today are talking about Mikel Arteta having to leave Arsenal because it's been a tough season for him. But 25 years since Everton have beaten Arsenal at their stadium, it may leave a hole in Arsenal. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with Mikel Arteta in the next 48 hours. I hope not, because it happened to Mourinho after they they tied against Everton.
Wow!
But his head is on the edge. So that's one. Well, we beat him at Goodison Park 2-1, and now we go beat him at Emirates 1-0. So it's not a good average for Mikel Arteta right now. And knowing his history at Everton and knowing his history at Arsenal, it must be tough for him.
Thank you for reminding us, Tuto. I really appreciate it. Well, let me remind you then to also please like this video if you haven't done so yet, please. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Come on, Everton is the team. Come on, we got to follow Everton. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Tuto, so much. We went in depth, and I am so glad to be talking to two guys that know quite a lot about Everton. So thank you, guys, once again. Love to see you then for the match preview on the next one. All right, let's goodbye, guys. That's goodbye. Take it easy, Nick. Bye, Tuto.
Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.